Here's a long ball from Phil Jagielka. We get a little bit of luck here, but we pick the ball further up the field. We move further upfield. Good ball from Gibson. Good little ball here. Morales does well to put the ball in the box. Composure from Jelavic. But again, good ball from Pina. But the initial ball from Jagielka long caused the problem. So, I don't know, the proof is in the pudding, as they say sometimes.
Not bitter, just better. The all-new Everton podcast.
Hello everyone, Mark Mack here with episode 4 of the Not Bitter Just Better podcast, and it's only the first week of the season. With me as always is Johnny Seven.
Hello.
And for the first time this week, we've got a third member of the team. This week with us is Mr. Paul Cronin.
Hello people.
Yeah, so instead of just two of us talking absolute rubbish this week, there is going to be three of us talking rubbish, but we'll give it a go, see how it goes. Obviously it's busy week this week with it being the start of the season. Premier League kicks off this weekend, and obviously we still had the last friendly with Betis last weekend. Should we start it there, John? What do you think?
Yeah, we'll start off just talking a little bit about the Betis game. It was a good turnout. The three of us were there for Roberto's first game. The squad looked decent side on paper. What I want to talk about first though is the formation. It seemed to be a bit of a 2-2-3-2-1 formation.
Did that add up to enough players that?
Pass. I don't know. I didn't do the maths in my head, but yeah, it was like the old Christmas tree formation, like a 5-3-2 with wing backs. But we only had two centre backs instead. I think you were saying at the match, Mark, that it's a bit of a trendy one in Europe at the moment. Two centre backs.
Yeah, from what I've been told, there's a bit of a buzz around Europe, and I know Martinez has been out looking at continental clubs and looking at this style of play. For me, on the first showing against Betis, I didn't think it worked. I didn't like it. I thought we got overrun, especially in the first half, quite a lot. We were inviting players onto us, and I think if Betis could have finished better, we could have been 4-0 down in our first half.
I think that was possibly down to individual errors, or Jagielka looked a bit shaky to start off with. Do you think once they bed into that position, it would be a better formation for them?
Well, it's obviously going to take a bit of getting used to it. It's certainly not a style that English players are used to. So it might just need a bit of time to bed in. But I think if we play a better side, if we play a Premier League side and we play like that, we'll just get destroyed. Yeah,
I mean, Betis a good side, and I said on our Facebook on the day, it was like the Alamo. We were sat in the Gladys, and it was just swarming towards us throughout that first half. Been a lot of criticism. What are your thoughts about the game, Paul?
I just don't think there's any urgency in pre-season with a lot of players. I think the same players could go and play against Norwich next week, and they'll be focused. There'll be urgency about them. It's a serious game of football. Don't forget they've been travelling all over the USA for the last week and a half or so as well. So, it was a nice hot sunny day. Knocked the ball around a little bit. In the end, we got the win.
Yeah, we won the game. So all you can take from it was a successful run out really after the successful pre-season.
So, are you boys honestly saying that didn't worry you, that game?
It didn't worry me. No, I mean, I've played in pre-season games myself, and I don't think that players take them as serious as regular season games. Jelavic looked sharp, and I think that's probably the best thing to take from him, because at the end of last season he didn't look sharp, and he does look sharp now. So some of the other players who may not have looked as sharp there last week will certainly up the game come Saturday against Norwich.
He looked more than sharp, didn't he? Looked like he wanted to murder someone.
Well, yeah, he was kicking off there a bit, wasn't he? I don't know what that was all about, but again, I think that could possibly be a bit of frustration boiling over with the formation. I thought, people were struggling to know who was meant to be dropping in to pick the ball up off the keeper. I know Gibson looked like he was trying to do it, but obviously we know now he had a knock in the warm-up, so he wasn't fully fit. I thought, I didn't think Coleman or Baines were in the game much because they were sort of just stuck out wide in sort of no man's land. I just thought it looked disjointed, and I just don't know. I can't see how it's going to work.
Yeah, it seemed to be designed to give us a more attacking look, but then those options weren't really there. You had the fullbacks who were meant to be pushing on as soon as Howard got the ball. Gibson dropping deep for the ball, and then when Gibson got found out, Barkley seemed to be dropping, but Howard didn't look confident enough to drop it over Gibson to Barkley. So,
what do you think of Barkley?
Barkley, he made a little bit of a mistake where which he got criticised for last year, where he tried to do something a little bit clever, and he ended up putting one of their players in. But I think he looked good again.
I thought Barkley was our best player on the day against Betis. I really did. I thought he was the only one who really seemed to be putting a shift in, putting effort in, trying to tackle people, trying to track back with runners from midfield. I thought Barkley had a decent game.
I think he needs a good 10 games.
I agree.
I think Martinez has got to say to him, you're starting the first 10 games of the season unless you're injured, and then come the end of those first 10 games I think you'll know a lot more about him, because I think he needs a run in Premiership football where he can actually mature into a player.
Yeah, a bit of trust in him really, isn't it?
And you'll know straight away then after those 10 games whether he can do it or not.
I just think looking at that game, and I know it was just a friendly, and I know it's not a true reflection, but I just think you look at that team on paper, and it's already more attacking than last year. The way it's set out, it should be more attacking. But how many shots did we have in the first half? One. We didn't seem to create chances with this attacking formation.
But again, there's no urgency, is there? You're not going to create many chances when there's no urgency in the game. It's a chance for players to wind down and get their fitness levels up and things like that. Come next week, the players that you're looking at saying that we haven't had a shot on goal. Come next week, hopefully by the end of that game, we'll have created far more chances. There's points at stake next week. There was nothing at stake this week other than don't get injured before the start of the season.
So if you're looking at it that way, then why were Betis creating chances? Because it's only a pre-season game for Betis, and
we kept a clean sheet over in the last few minutes. So Betis were quite clearly on top in large parts of the game, but they still didn't breach our defence until near the end.
Yeah, I mean I think Howard was man of the match really, because he made a handful of saves in the first half. But we're talking about it, and there's a bit of debate here, and Paul, you think that they didn't seem up for it, which is fair enough if it was a friendly. And
neither with the crowd either.
No, the crowd.
No pressure from the crowd.
The crowd's a bit.
The crowd affects the players. If the crowd are getting on the players' backs, then maybe think, hold on, we'll up this a little bit.
I agree. And I must admit, once half time rolled around and Gibson had gone off and Heitinger came on, I did think for periods in the second half we did look a much better attacking force. Morales got into the game a little bit, a couple of good little tidy runs from Morales and a couple of little cheeky flicks and things showing a bit of class. But yeah, I mean, I'm just worried that a decent side there would in that first half would have buried us.
Yeah, that's we talk about the 2 goals from us. I think we were very fortuitous on both of them really. That first one, how it got through to Jelavic, is beyond me. It seemed to go through 2 defenders' legs, and then the goalie just dropped on the floor, and Wita fixed it, didn't he? But Jelavic did well for it again.
Yeah, once Jelavic's control and little turn and finish was class. I thought it was a great goal.
That's only what though. 4 or 5 months ago, Jelavic would have paid £1 million for that chance.
Yeah, definitely, and he probably would have skied it.
Put the ball in the net, don't you? He scored against Blackburn the other week, didn't he?
But it's a good sign, yes. I mean, I think we've spoken on every podcast so far about Jelavic coming back to form. So
says about Jelavic, who's 11 go for £6 million now?
Definitely not, because we've talked about this before, and the main reason, apart from the fact that we think he's going to come good, is who else are you going to replace him with for the same price? You're not going to get quality for that price.
And he's always had the support of the fans.
Definitely, last season
stayed on his side, haven't
he had a really tough season, and the fans were still right behind him. And how many players has that happened to over the past so many years at Goodison? If any other striker had gone through that form, you know, he'd been shown the door, wouldn't he?
And I think talking about, you know, players that the fans like, I'm starting to feel there's a real buzz about Morales with the Goodison faithful at the minute.
Yeah, we talk a little bit more about him when we talk about our ones to watch for the season, but you know, every time he gets the ball, you can feel the buzz in the crowd, and you know, everyone's on the edge of the seats. And he's had a good pre-season, a couple of goals, and a thunderbolt again at the weekend where he put it in the top corner.
A thunderbolt, yeah. Is that how you're describing it? A thunderbolt?
Struck it from distance.
Do you mean a miss-hit, floated cross? I tell you what, their keeper reminds me of Tim Howard at points last season when he dropped that one.
I think it was more of a mucker. He made a Jan mucker of it, didn't he? But you know, a little bit of a sour note with their goal at the end, where it ping-ponged around the penalty area, and you know, it was a bit of a joke defensively, wasn't it?
I don't know. I was in the Black Horse with the kid by then.
You thought it finished 2-0, didn't you?
I thought, as far as I'm concerned, it was 2-0. Left with 10 minutes to go. The kids out the ground after a glass of wine.
So we have that on our record books then, and we finished it 2-0.
Well,
some of us were 1-0 at Norwich last year as well.
Oh yeah, that would have been a much better turnout there.
Some of us proper fans actually stayed to the end and seen it, but I think it was just a case of everyone had sort of lost interest and switched off at that point, so it was one of them really. It was I wouldn't worry too much about that conceded goal.
Well, on reflection now, it was another good run out. The pitch looked amazing, and if that's, you know, if he wants to start playing football, attacking football on there, you can't ask for the better turf than that, can they?
No, the surface looked good. They seem to be watering it more at half time than they did last year as well. So obviously that's been come down.
I don't know if anyone else noticed at the weekend though. The grass did seem to be really thick, and when the players were trying to pass it around, especially at the back, and when Pinar's knocking around in the middle at times, it did seem to stick a little bit and slow the passing game down a bit. Now I'm not sure whether that's going to play into our hands.
I think that's maybe why they watered at half time.
Well, yeah. It didn't seem to do much good, did it?
Not in the first half, no, but maybe, you know, in the second half, maybe. I don't know.
I just think sometimes, like, our midfielders knocking around quite well at times, and the last thing you need is the ball holding up on the pitch when you're trying to move it around, isn't it?
I can remember.
Maybe we should go back to the long ball game now.
That's where the goal came from. Goal came from along.
So is that it then? Our new passing regimes lasted like 4 pre-season games, and we're giving that off, are we?
We need to get Moyes back, get Dave Watson back in the back four, and get him moving it back up.
Can we get Duncan on retirement up front, do you think? And that's it for pre-season, really. I think I've liked what I've seen in the pre-season so far. I think we've played decent sides, you know, the likes of Real Madrid, etc. we talked about over previous episodes. And I think the main thing we've seen so far is, you know, a couple of players are looking like they're in good form. Jelavic, we mentioned a number of times. And also something I'm happy about is no one's got injured really through this season. So we're going in to the new season with a full squad and a bit of optimism. And I'm looking forward to it. I mean, it's time for the real deal now, isn't it? The majority of this podcast is going to be a preview of the new season. I want to get the thoughts of the boys here about what they're expecting, what their expectations are. So let's get into it, eh?
Yeah, I think the funny thing is how excited we've been for these games that we've covered so far over the past month or so, and they have only been friendlies, and there's been an awful lot of buzz about it. Do you think this is because of the Martinez era starting, you know, it's excitement because it's the first season without Moyes in 11 years, or do you think it's just the way coverage has changed? You know, people being all on Facebook and Twitter and having the American tour and being able to watch all the games. But I don't know whether you guys agree, but there does seem to be a lot more buzz about it.
I think Martinez has created most of the buzz because we've only signed one player really for cash, Coney.
Yeah.
We've brought a goalie in, and as everyone knows, goalies don't count, you know. And we brought a free transfer in. If Moyes had stayed and done the same, everyone would be crying out for where's the money, where are the signings, other clubs are signing players and we're not. So I think going over to America and playing Madrid and Valencia and Juventus and having a new manager has kind of taken the heat off bringing players in. So I think it's an important next couple of weeks because we do still need to bring a few players in.
I think I'll add to that a little bit. I think that what he's done that's different than what Moyes has done in the past is he's made those signings early, whereas Dither and Dave, as people refer to him, would hang on, and then maybe bring two faces in on the transfer deadline day. He's made those signings early.
Well, we play Norwich Saturday, and if we play Norwich Saturday and we play Cardiff a week later, and in between those two games, Fellaini and Baines was to leave, or even one of them, it doesn't leave us with a lot of time to bring in new faces. So I just hope that if he has got to bring in new faces, he knows who he's going to bring in and he does it. Don't want to be left with a load of money sat there that we can't spend till January because the season could be gone by then.
Well, going back to your original question there, John, I think the buzz is because for the first time in 12 years, we're going into the unknown here. It's new ideas, it's a new manager, and I think everyone's excited because we don't know what to expect. If you ask me where we're going to finish, it could be anywhere between 15th and top. I don't know. It's different, isn't it? It's different. Yeah, so, I mean that's the general consensus is it's going to be attacking, school of science, passing, so that's for me the most exciting part to see how
we've not lost anyone. We've not lost Morales. We've not lost Fellaini. We've not lost Baines.
Yeah, for all the talk about that, there's not been any real
activity,
and there's no real bids gone in. One bid for Baines, there's been a lot of newspaper talk and Facebook and Twitter talk about Baines and Fellaini, but
would you sell them?
Well, it's coming out today. Just looking on the site, just up to date news. It's just looking today as if the club have come out and said there will be no more bids for Baines. So I don't know how they know that, but obviously they must have put the word. They must know that whoever his potential suitors are have dropped out of the race now.
I can't say Baines worries me.
I think Baines will stay.
Yeah,
I do. Yeah.
But Fellaini, I think
he'll go.
I think there's a chance, and I'd say that one worries me a little bit more. We talked about this last week in quite a bit of detail.
But would you let him go? If you got 24 million quid in and you have players lined up to replace him, I don't think it would be the worst business in the world.
No, if we had someone in mind to replace him, but that's a big if.
Well, everyone keeps saying about Scott Parker, don't they? 3.5 million quid, he's 82 now. I don't think I'd be going down the Scott Parker route.
Well, I think he's going to QPR anyway. I mean,
I think that's his level now, though, isn't it? I don't think he can really command a place in Everton, starting 11 if they want to finish anywhere between 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th.
I think he could do a job as a squad in the squad.
Yeah, but
not replacing Fellaini. You're looking at a leading player to being replaced by a squad player. I don't think that'd be a good business.
What about any of the Spurs players? Because if Gareth Bale goes, they're going to be spending money all over the shop. They've got a big squad as it is. What about a couple of their players? Would you put a bid in for them?
Defoe?
£6 million for Defoe.
Do we need a striker at the moment, though? Is that our area of need?
If Defoe's available,
I think he'd score you £6 million quid's worth of goals over the next 12 months.
I think he's a good player, but I just can't see us going in for a striker. And then if you're looking at Spurs players, you're looking at the likes of, Tom Huddleston.
Well, he's gone today, hasn't he? £5.5 million.
Has he gone now? Has he?
Yeah, £5.5 million agreed today.
So I mean, I don't know. I mean, I just think, everyone talk about Fellaini, and we touched on this last week, and I don't want to rehash old ground, but, to me, Fellaini wasn't even on the bench in the Betis game. He had this gashed knee and this knock that no one had heard anything about until about half an hour before the game. That, to me, that was the signal that, he is on his way, because as we've come to learn now from the Premier League, if you're injured in pre-season, it usually means you're getting transferred. And who did we replace Fellaini with on Sunday? Ross Barkley. And I think that's the way we're going to go. I can see Ross Barkley starting games. I can see, and we did cover this last week, so I say I don't want to rehash old ground, but I don't really think we're desperately in need of a replacement for Fellaini.
I agree with Ross Barkley, but I think if you give him those 10 games, and I've said similar about Oviedo as well, if worst came to the worst and Baines was to go, I would give Oviedo that chance until Christmas to prove himself. But you'd still need squad players there. You'd still need some sort of marquee signing to replace your marquee players that are leaving. You can't let Fellaini go and say, well, we've got Ross Barkley to replace him, because if Barkley doesn't cut it in 10 games into the season, he's seriously not cutting it, we're going to be in trouble.
I disagree with you, Paul, because I don't really see the point in bringing a player in, and if you spend money on him, then you've got to play him. So you're bringing somebody in to go ahead of Ross Barkley. At some point, we need to play Barkley. We need, so give him a go.
Well, you've got Gibson's injured every other week. Now, I know he doesn't necessarily play in the same position as Gibson, but there's got to be some flexibility within the formation he plays as well. So, Barkley doesn't necessarily have to play in the centre. A few times last year I was looking at Stephen Pienaar and thinking, you're not doing it for me. You're not putting the effort in that you used to.
Disappointing last season.
Yeah, a lot of times last season I looked at him and thought, oh, you got your contract back, have you?
Yeah.
He needed to do a lot more last season than he was doing. You look at Jelic last season, he wasn't doing it. You could bring in the likes of Defoe and say, well, if you're not doing it now, mate, this guy is going in. It's all about competition in the squad, isn't it? And if you've got £20 million coming in for Fellaini, you've got £20 million you can spread around that squad to bring that competition. And if Barkley's good enough, great. If he's not,
so as it stands at the moment, then, if we manage to keep the players that we've got, okay, or possibly we lose Fellaini, because that is looking fairly likely. Where can you see us finishing this year? I put this out on the Facebook page of the day, and the majority of replies we got were positive. People still seem to be positive. So where do you think, John?
I don't really like to predict with Everton, because I'd rather they prove my doubts wrong rather than giving a finish. Because but I'd like to say top 6. I don't think our squad's been weakened at all. It's only been strengthened. We've still got a strong goalkeeper, defensive line-up. I think it's only been added to, so maybe top 6. The other clubs around us may have added, but I can't see anyone coming taking over us.
I mean, I don't think we're at top 4. I think we're quite some way behind Tottenham, even if they sold Bale, because they'd strengthen on the back of that business. I don't think Liverpool have improved their side enough to overtake us. And then after that, I mean, the likes of Newcastle, Sunderland, Swansea, Southampton, they may be spending a few quid, but I don't think they're spending in order to overtake us. I think they're spending to preserve the Premiership status. I don't think we're in that gang of clubs at the moment. Aston Villa used to be one of our challengers. They're nowhere near us at the minute. I think with a couple of decent signings, even if Fellaini does go, I think we could comfortably finish 6 and maybe finish a bit closer to Tottenham.
Yeah, I'm of the same mind. I mean, I can't see us breaking into the top 4. But saying that, I mean, to me personally, the only thing that stopped us being in a top 4 last year, the difference between us finishing, 3rd or 4th, or where we did finish at the end of the season, was the fact that we didn't have enough goals. Jelic wasn't scoring. If Jelic had got 15-20 league goals last season and turned some of them draws into 3 points, I think we would have walked the top 4. So I think if we can get Jelic firing, we have got an outside chance.
I think some of the slack finishes last year as well. We were 2-1 up in injury time against Newcastle. I know all clubs have this, but we did get a little bit of a dodgy deal with this. 2-1 up against Newcastle. We were up in injury time against Norwich at home 4 minutes ago, 5 minutes ago, 1-0 up against Norwich away. We dropped a lot of points. We absolutely walked all over Reading away from home last year and ended up getting beat.
See,
same with QPR.
That's Everton through and through, that though, isn't it? It's, there's been years and years of that.
But that's the sort of thing a change of manager can change, because Martinez is going to bring different ideas in to close out games, different substitutional ideas that he can bring in. So I mean, you never know. He might be able to eradicate.
He might be more decisive. He might be more decisive. Might, you know, if the game's 1-1, he might chase it and not leave it till 2 minutes before the end before bringing an attack around like Moyes did.
I'm a big David Moyes fan. You know, I thought he did wonders for this club, but that was the one criticism I always found of Moyes. You know, sometimes he wouldn't make substitutions. And he couldn't make that decisive decision, maybe just to close a game out or just to keep hold of the lead.
I mean, last year I can only remember the Tottenham game where we turned dropping points into 3 points. But there's a long list of games where we had winning positions or winning performances and dropped points and lost games or drew games. And it's that where I think we've got to improve. When we're leading, we've got to push on and we've got to put nails in coffins.
Definitely kill teams off. That's something we haven't done for a long time.
We didn't do it last year.
There's not many times where we go out and hammer a side, is there? You know, even 3 or 4. You know, there's not many times at all. We've seen it in the past 3 or 4 seasons.
So do you lads think we're going to see a lot more goals at Goodison this year?
For and against.
But I think they'll be
at both ends, at both ends, yeah.
But that's what you want, isn't it? That kind of excitement.
I mean, there's no two ways about it. We've got an aging back four.
Asian?
No, sorry.
Aging.
Aging.
Right, okay.
Yeah, but Distan, I mean, I said this last week, he doesn't look any different, does he?
No,
he hasn't lost it. It doesn't look like he's lost a yard of pace. Jagielka, do you think he's lost a yard?
No, not necessarily, but it may not be losing that yard of pace. It could be a pulled hamstring. It could be the body putting up with quick games. You know, sometimes you're playing 3 games in a week, and you know, people 31, 2, 3 and 4, they can't always handle that. You know, Johnny I think is there as well, but you know, I wouldn't play him in my Sunday league team, to be honest, most of the time.
Not a fan of Johnny then?
There was a period last year where everything that went wrong at the back door for Everton had something to do with him. And
see, I'm going to disagree with you.
No, I know you like him, but
no, not about Johnny Eiting, about the aging back 4, because we haven't got a back 4 anymore. We've got a back 2. If Sunday's anything to go on.
I mean, Baines will be running up and down that wing until he's in his mid-60s, won't he? And
contrary to
lose any pace.
Contrary to Warren Barton's opinion.
The same, but I'd like to see him bring in a couple of young centre halves, and they don't even necessarily have to play unless the 2 that we've got get injured. But
haven't we got that in Duffy and Stones?
Well, have we though? I mean, would you trust putting them against Norwich next week? How confident would you be going in against Norwich next week? You know, that's like saying you can have Duffy and Stones at some point during our season because we've got no squad, and then having Barkley in the midfield and he's not doing it. I think you need a couple of experienced players in their mid-20s to come in and fill gaps if needs be.
Well, before we get
to Scott Dan, would you have him?
Before we get specifically onto the Norwich game, because we'll talk about that now, just a couple more general predictions then, really, just going around the room. I mean, we've already said we all think we're going to finish around about 6th in the league. What are you thinking, John? Who do you think will be Everton's player of the season this year? Who's our main man this year?
Well, I made a couple of notes just on this. A few players to watch. The big one who the buzz is around at the moment, who we've already mentioned, is Morales. I think if he can not disappear in games, I think he disappeared in the away derby last year at Anfield, and it was really frustrating to see. It's just like it was like we were down to 10 men at some point in the match, but he can really turn a game once he gets the ball and runs with it. You know, he's just so direct. He can create something out of nothing, and we miss having players with that kind of electric pace with the ball.
Do you think he'll stay fit, boys? What do you think?
I'm hoping so. If he can stay fit, then I think he's not just one to watch for us. I think he can really be one of the stars of the Premier League next season.
I think he's got to want to stay fit as well, hasn't he?
He's got to, yeah.
You know, some players in his mould, sometimes it's a little bit easy to have a few weeks off if things aren't going your way and your confidence is getting a bit of a knock. So I think he needs to want to stay fit.
So he's one of my main one to watch. You know, I think he's an obvious one. Another.
Are you gonna sit on the fence now about 5 choices?
No, I'm just gonna talk about just 2 more.
Just three players of the season then.
No, you're not having 3 players of the season. Then me and him have got to choose between Coleman
Well,
no.
Go on then, go on, you finish.
Morales is an obvious one, so he's not really my one to watch.
But you said him first, so he's your first man to watch, but he's not your one to watch.
I think Seamus is a good shout, because I think he's come on leaps and bounds, and we used to call him Forrest Gump, because he just used to get the ball and run with it, and I think it'd be like he was on autopilot at times. He just run to the byline and then kind of turn 90 degrees and then head in towards the box. Now I think he's getting really better at making footballing decisions. Some of the little inside play at the weekend and all pre-season.
Does this mean Hibbert's gone for good then?
Well, possibly. I think Hibber might be able to come in and play right centre.
I can't see where Hibbert's going to fit into the new system.
If we play three centre backs, he played Stones as that right centre back. I could see Hibbo. Hibbo stood at centre back before. I'm not saying
Can you remember any of the times that Hibbo's played centre half for us?
He played centre half last season.
I can't see it on the radio, but there's some funny faces getting pulled at Johnny.
I remember there a couple of the few Everton games that I've watched through a little crack in my fingers the full 90 minutes, because you scare me that much playing centre half.
I'm not endorsing it. I'm just saying it's a possibility. If they're going to play wing backs, you want three centre halves. Hibbo might drop in there. If Seamus could push further on, Baines would push further on the other wing.
Baines already plays left midfield.
Yeah.
He's a left back, but he's already playing most of the game and near the corner.
So come on then, what's your 17th choice for player of the season then?
No, the other one is just more of a hope really, and that's for Ross to come good this season.
Yeah, I'd like to see him.
So come on fellas.
About Ross, right? The thing is with Barkley, right, is that he's obviously a good footballer, but it's like you can see the academy coming through in him, where you're taught in the academy to control the ball, get your head up past the ball, control the ball, get your head up past the ball, and always be nice and intricate with the ball. I'd like to see him think, you know what, sod this academy laugh now, I'm Ross Barkley, I'm going to take the game myself. And I'd like to see him try things. People not get on his back for trying things. If he wants to have a pop from 25 yards, have a pop.
I think Moyes knocked that out on him.
Yeah, I do, and I think the academy does as well, because they concentrate on getting players passing the ball. It'd be nice to see him just get the ball and think, I'm going to try taking players on here and having a shot. I'm going to try little passes rather than just. I was watching at the weekend. I know it's only pre-season, but it's like he'd get his head up, find the player that he wants to pass to, and play his 5-yard pass. And it's like, come on, mate, there's more than you.
He doesn't need to.
He doesn't need to be just doing his 5-yard passes. There's more to him than that. And only time will tell whether there is. But I'd like to see him try stuff, because Evertonians will never get on the back of players for trying things and trying to create things, and we need a creative midfielder.
I'd like to see him try stuff going forward, but that bit where he beats a man and then plays a 40-yard back pass and puts their striker through, I think he can do away with that part of his game.
Yeah, that wasn't the best. But,
so who's your player who are you looking forward to this season? Who do you reckon? Who should we have
I would like my player of the season to be an attacking player. I don't want our player of the season to be Tim Howard or Jagielka.
Which over the last couple of seasons, I
would like it to be Morales, because I think he's that one player where he gets the ball, he does give Evertonians a spark, he gets you to your feet. So he was like Kanchelskis or Limpau when they used to get it in the 90s, and I would like it to be him. Failing him, like a lot of other Evertonians, I'd love Jelovic to go and knock 20-25 goals in this year and fire us up into the top 4.
Yeah, I fully agree. My hope for player of the season is Jelovic, and by hope I mean to be a player of the season as a striker, you're probably looking at about 20 goals.
And it's in him.
And it's definitely, we know he's got it in him.
Yeah.
But realistically, you would think of a player of the season, and Johnny's already mentioned him, I think it's going to be Seamus Coleman this year. I think the lad over the tail end of last season just came on leaps and bounds. I think that right-hand side of Coleman and Morales is probably going to take over from Baines and Pienaar as being our most lethal threat in games, I think.
The only thing there though is he's not going to get player of the year if we're going forward kind of like too much and leaving him exposed at the back, because if we start leaking goals here, there and everywhere, and we're finishing 12th and 13th in the league, because we're getting beat 2-1 and 3-2 at home and 4-2 away and stuff. You know, we've always had a solid back four over the last few years, and I'm kind of looking at it now thinking, are we going to have a solid back four?
I think he's come on defensively as well.
Oh,
yeah, I do.
but
I mean, at Coleman, when the winger was running at Coleman, you know, when seasons gone by, I would always expect him to make a rash challenge, to give a penalty away, you know, to do a silly foul. But I think his defending now has come on massively, and you know.
We'll put it this way: he commanded a good fee. He apparently got linked with United this week. And what did we pay? 65,000 or something like that, wasn't it?
Around 60 grand.
You'd be looking at least £6 or £7 million for him, wouldn't you? So that shows you, you know, what sort of progress he's made.
Didn't even start playing football until about a year ago, did he? As well.
I think the lad's really come of age, and I think this could be a season. I think you know, by the end of next season, there's a good possibility there you'll be getting talked in the same breath as Baines. You know, doing just as well as Baines. And I think that's what we've needed, something down that right hand side for a long time now. And I know Coleman's been at the club, but I think that right hand side, I think we're going to have a good balance to the side this year.
Whereas Baines has got a good delivery, Seamus is a little bit more direct. He'll try and beat the player, go on the outside, and then put it in. Whereas Baines tries to whip a ball in or whatever.
Well,
it's a good balance.
What he's doing himself at the time, does he? So how can a defender know what he's going to do?
So moving on from that, and just before we get to touch on the Norwich game, a bit of a more general Premier League sort of subject. How do you think the league's going to pan out this year? Then, what do you think for the top four, John?
It looks wide open, doesn't it, between a few clubs? I mean, there was the big talk that Arsenal were going to come in, spend big, and they were going to be challengers again this season. But I can't. Well, they haven't bought anyone at all, have they?
Arsenal are a bit joking.
I think it's going to be between Chelsea and Man City.
Arsenal Wenger keeps his money under the bed, doesn't he? And he can't find his bed. So he's not going to spend, is he? Suarez won't go there. If Suarez went there, and if they attracted Rooney there as well, what an attacking side they'd have. But I don't think he's going to spend the money. I think he spends it as if it's his own money.
So, saying that though, do you think this move for Suarez is sort of publicity? You know,
I think they genuinely buy him, but I don't think they can get him.
Yeah.
I don't think Liverpool would sell him to him. I think he's going to go abroad.
Yeah. So, Johnny, you're going for Chelsea for the league or City?
Chelsea or Chelsea. I don't think whoever doesn't win it will finish second though. If you get me, I think. Maybe if Chelsea won it, I think United are going to be the one pushing them. So I think one of them will fall away.
Right,
so
okay.
I'd say top three, if you have to put me on the spot, Chelsea, Man U, Man City, fourth position.
1 or 3? Arsenal, Tottenham, Everton?
I think Spurs might do it. I'm hoping, obviously, Everton can break that top four, but I think Spurs might do it unless Arsenal, you know, they don't seem to have these superstar youngsters apart from, you know, they've got Wilshere there. Who else have they got coming through that they've had in, you know, the young foreign players?
They're outside up for them, yeah.
So, yeah.
And isn't it great going into a season and not mentioning that shite over the park in these conversations? Like,
yeah, well, if we talked about the bottom half of the table, then, you know, that the discussions might be there.
Who do you fancy this season then?
I think 2 years ago Man City scored loads of goals. Last year they hardly scored any. I think this year they're going to score loads of goals again. So I think they're going to win it. Yeah, I think it's literally going to come down to which of those top 3 teams get the best away results. I think Man City will get the best away results this year. I think Chelsea will come second. I think Tottenham will come third because I think they'll sell Bale. They've got a goal scorer there now.
Soldado.
Yeah. I think they'll go out and spend 15 and 20 million pounds 2 to 3 more times this summer. So I think they'll finish third. I think United will finish fourth because I don't think Rooney's heart will be in it now after everything that's gone on, and I think their squad isn't as good. I think they won it by default last year because there were so many problems with other sides.
So what happens to David Moyes if they finish fourth?
I think he'd get another year still. I think he'd get another year. I think Everton will finish. I think Everton will finish 6th. I think Arsenal will get 5th again, and I think Liverpool finish 7th again. I think it's going to be
Pretty much
as it was last year, except Man City will do the business this year.
Yeah, the clubs around and below, as you said before, they might have spent big money, but have they spent big enough money to make, you know, a side that can perform consistently? It's just the odd player here and there.
Well, I think City, that Navas, I know it was only the Confederations Cup, but when he was getting the ball in that, you thought, this guy's going to take players on, he's going to create chances for them. They've still got Silva there, they've got Aguero. I mean, it doesn't matter who they've got in defence, because it's hardly going to be tested all through the year. It's not going to be tested in 5 or 6 games.
Best goal in the league.
Yeah.
Well,
I just think they're going to score teams to death.
Yeah, Mark, what's yours?
My point of view on this is, I am going to slightly disagree with you here on City. I don't think City have bought anyone who improves them. I think, alright, they've got the 2 lads up front, Negredo and Jovetic, but, you know, at the end of the day, they've lost Carlos Tevez, so, and they lost Balotelli last season.
The squad though, didn't
they? They did, but they're both quality players. Now,
surely it's a more harmonious squad this year.
I just don't think they've bought. I think City should have gone out early and bought, you know, a Neymar or a Falcao, or, you know, a real world-class player. I just can't. I think the team to watch next year is Chelsea. I think Chelsea are going to walk the league this year. I really do.
Special one come back and take it then, yeah?
I've just got a feeling about them. I don't know what it is.
I just got a good feeling. He said the only sign he wants this summer now is Rooney.
Eto's been linked. Eto's been linked this week. Do you think?
Do you know what though? He's 86. And that's his own age. He's probably 94.
We've seen what Mourinho's done in the past, and I think, you know, he's probably going to play sort of Lukaku, playing in that sort of Drogba role as a spearhead up front. And you know, I really like Lukaku.
I do. I love him.
You know, he's a beast when he played at Goodison last year. The size of the lad. So I think it's going to be Chelsea winning the league. I think the 2 Manchester clubs will be very, very close for 2nd and 3rd, and then I think 4th's wide open. I really do. I think if Spurs lose Bale, that's a massive loss for them. That Bale turns games on his own and turns draws and defeats into wins.
Yeah, but how many players that could turn games and score goals are they going to be able to buy with 105 million quid? You know, they've already bought that. Is it Paulinho?
Paulinho, yeah.
Centre midfield. They've got Ronaldo up front. You know, they've got a good squad, and if they start putting some really good players to go with it.
It seems to have gone on a bit long now, though, doesn't it, with Bale? Do you think he's going to go?
I think he's going to go. I think they're just waiting on getting the last sort of bits of structure over how the deal's done. I think Bale's gone. I mean, the reason for that is it's all stayed very quiet, really, hasn't it? It's only been the papers who've been fueling it. You haven't really heard much from the club. You haven't heard anything from Bale himself. So I think that the reason for that is because it's all getting done behind the scenes.
Is Bale 25 million better than Cristiano Ronaldo?
No.
Do you think that's what it's going to take, 105 million?
Well, you say though, from a financial point of view, Ronaldo at some point's getting old and going to move on, isn't he? So you've got to say, is he £25 million better off than Ronaldo over the next 6 years, selling shirts and sponsorship and stuff like that? You know, if he goes over there, he's going to be playing 34 games a season where he can literally fill his boots with goals.
Do you think Cristiano Ronaldo has got a bigger brand than Bale?
Miles bigger.
So what are they getting for 105 million?
Well, they're getting a new brand to sell.
Yeah, they're getting a new brand to sell, but don't forget, they've got to overturn Barcelona. Barcelona at the moment, their players, the likes of Xavi and people like that, they're getting a little bit older, and at this point you've got to look at Madrid over there now and think they've got a much younger squad. And I know they've got Barcelona, got Messi, and they'll always have them, but Barcelona and Madrid, they're going to whack most sides all through the year. And again, it comes down to fixtures against, you know, away from home and at home against Valencia and Seville, and you know, against Madrid and Barcelona. They're the points they've got to pick up. Now, if Real Madrid are going to Barcelona, they can keep the likes of Messi quiet, and they've got Bale on one side, Ronaldo on the other. There's just so much.
Going to that as well. If Bale goes to Real, does Ronaldo go back to Man U?
I don't think so. No, I can't see any reason. I mean, he likes knocking around with his birds on the beach in his undies, going for swims in the sun. Why does he want to come back to Manchester?
You can do that on Southport Beach, can't you?
You know what I mean?
Yeah, Blackpool's not far as well.
They haven't even got glass in the bus shelters in Southport.
I must admit, if Ronaldo was to go back to United, I'd probably change my mind to go to
Yeah,
United
I would,
in the
yeah.
league then.
But he's the sort of player that would make them win a league, isn't he?
He is.
Single-handedly,
Yeah,
he
you're
could
right.
take teams
You're
apart.
right. You're right.
Yeah.
I must admit, I mean, I know he's got a new nickname now out in Spain. I don't know if you know this, but he's now known as the Portuguese Kevin Morales. Did you know that? That's how he's known in the league. So that's how he's referred to. But so moving on a little bit then. Season starts Saturday. We're playing Norwich.
Fucking Norwich away, first game of the season, up at 5 in the morning. Nice one, Premier League.
So, what's the thoughts on that then, boys? Is it a winning start for the Blues?
It's a tricky one, isn't it?
It is a tricky one.
Norwich, it's spent big, but as we know, sides who spent big in the past, it's a bit of an unknown quantity, aren't they? Are they going to come in and all be superstars straight away? Are they going to gel?
Do you know what? Let's have this. What's his name? Chickenberger or whatever his name is.
Yeah, let's have a look at who they bought Norwich. They've got in Ricky Van Wolfswinkel, who's coming from Sporting Lisbon. They paid good money for him, $8.5 million.
Yeah.
Anyone know anything about Ricky Van Wolfswinkel?
Didn't he play for Heerenveen? Off the top of my head, I might be totally wrong. I'm just having a guess, but I think he played for Heerenveen in Holland.
He scored a bag full of goals.
Then he got a move a couple of years ago. Now, to me, he's done nothing that Dirk Kuyt didn't do in Holland, and Dirk Kuyt hardly set the world on fire when he got here. So I know he's a bit of a pain in the ass for us, but you know, I don't think I can't see why this Dan and Jags can't keep him under control.
Yeah, fingers crossed we can.
We were going to sign Leroy Fair for £8.5 million. Diesel bought him for £4.5 million.
It's
now,
good business.
Were we overbidding for a player, or was there genuinely something wrong with him where he's not actually as good as we thought he might be?
Yeah, conveniently found a little injury, which the Norwich staff don't find.
Were we desperate to sign a player back in January, so we were overbidding?
We were all looking forward to. Well, I was looking forward to signing Leroy Fair when that deal came out, because I had a look at him as you do on different outlets, and I thought he looked a decent player, I must admit.
I thought I had an extra plum when we signed Johnny Heitinga, but look how that turned out. You know, some players just turn up at your club and you think they play for Holland, and you know, they've got a good background, they don't turn out as good as they are. Who would you rather have in your midfield on Saturday? Ross Barkley and Fellaini or Leroy Fair? I'd give Barkley his chance. Yeah. You know,
well, Norwich have also strengthened with ex-Man City player Javier Garrido. They've signed Martin Olsen from Blackburn. So they have strengthened in defence with players that are used to playing in the Premier League. And they've also, their other big signing this summer was Gary Hooper from Celtic for $5 million. So we know a lot of clubs have had a look at. What's your thoughts on Hooper?
Well, let's face it, I mean, us three could go up and bang him in Scotland, couldn't we? So we just don't know with Hooper whether he can come and perform. He might have been better going to QPR, mightn't he?
We've paid a similar amount of money for Kone. He scored 11 goals last year, was it? In the Premiership for the side that got relegated.
Yeah.
I think I'd rather have Kone in my side than.
But
than
also
Hooper.
saying that we paid a similar amount for Jelavic, and that first season when he came in from Rangers as well. You know, similar stats to Hooper.
Yeah, he's a Croatian international though.
Yeah.
Good goal scoring record. And also we got him when Rangers were in meltdown. We got him on the cheap, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
You know, Super, I think that.
So you don't think there's particularly anything to worry about?
No, I think there could be. I think there could be if things click for them and the players come together.
Yeah,
but hopefully
they'll
have a little bedding in period, and we can take advantage of that, because our squad is much more integrated at this early stage than theirs is.
We haven't got the
a
best
tight
record,
ground, haven't
haven't
we? We've got a tight ground. 26,000 there.
Yeah.
First game of the season, nice sunny day. Everyone wants to turn up and see the home side do well, don't they?
Will we spoil it?
Yeah, well, you've got to hope that we do go there and stand up, haven't you? Because if we don't stand up there and we drop points or lose, and then we're going to Cardiff and we drop points and lose there, it could signal a bit of a tricky season for us. I think we need to go to our first few away games and pick points up.
Can you see any of the new faces featuring? Because I personally I can't. I think he's going to go with a pretty similar lineup to what we're used to.
I think Kone will. I think as a substitute.
As a sub, yeah.
I think he will. I mean, if we're getting beat, he definitely will.
Yeah.
As the game goes on and players start to tire, he's got a bit of pace, Kone. Just hope he's having something to eat now during the day.
I think we'll start with the team that starts against Betis. Give or take Gibson, whether he's fit or not. If Gibson's not fit, he'll probably play Heitinger.
Possibly Fellaini coming in.
I don't think Fellaini will wear an Everton shirt again.
I think Fellaini will feature. I think Gibson, as I say, Gibson touch and go really.
So he's got to be professional, hasn't he, Fellaini? At this moment in time, there's no transfer fee been put in for.
There's nothing.
He's
it's
not
all
mentioned about
it's all
wanting
rumour.
to move. So if he has just got a Belgian playing tonight. Belgium are playing tonight and he's in that squad, so if he's playing there tonight, he should be playing for us on Saturday.
I think when he gets home from international duty, somewhere between getting home from international duty tomorrow and the game on Saturday, I think Fellaini will become a Manchester United player.
I disagree. I don't think.
I think it'll all be done the last couple of days.
I don't think Moyes is going
to.
I don't think he's going to bid 30 million, and I don't think he's going to get him left for 20. So I think he's going to have to break the bank to get him, and the way he did is...
There is a lot of figures in between 20 million and 30 million now. I think it's a deal about 25 and he's gone.
Yeah.
You see, the thing is with Fellaini, if I was Martinez, I know everyone always says stuff like this, but I'd pick up the phone to United and say, listen, if you want him, every player's got their price. You do it this week before the season starts so I can spend the money the following week before we go and play Cardiff. If you don't do it by then, don't even bother coming back till December.
It makes you wonder why it's not done like that more.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, that's it. Just say now or never.
Now or never.
Yeah.
No, now or January.
Now or January, yeah.
Well, come January, because don't forget, Everton can say no.
We've been burned so many times, haven't we? Like you know, clubs coming in at like 10 to 12 on deadline day, and then us going rushing out and bringing in some no mark from.
I think if you Google this, but I didn't watch it myself because it was about 4 o'clock in the morning on one of the Everton games in the USA, but Everton did a meet the fans over there, and apparently Robert Elston did this business briefing, and he explained to people why a lot of the transfers and the big ones are done right near transfer deadline day, and apparently there's a reason for it from the club's perspective. And obviously I got too tired before I watched it, but it might be worth actually looking at that interview and seeing his opinion why they're done so close to transfer.
You can't tell us what his opinion is.
Well, I wish I'd have watched it now.
Yeah, we could have done that inside
pints. I've had about 400 pints, we've been the brick, sweated to death, and then got off home, and I thought I can't be doing listening to Elston and Hotels why we're not going to sell our players until the last day of the transfer season and then buy no one.
And listeners, you can clearly see why we brought Paul on for this week because such insightful reflection.
Yeah, but you can yourselves now go out and watch that interview, and Elston will tell you why it's done late in the day.
We've had Sarah Mack who comment on our Facebook, www.facebook.com/EFC, not bitter, just better.
Is this the one that was selling them pink trainees?
No, not the one with the pink trainees. This is she's saying about John Stones and Ross Barkley's performance for the under-21s last night. Very promising, exciting for them in the season upcoming.
Well, Ross scored
for the under-21s again last night. Stones looked semi-decent in pre-season. What I we agree that Barkley, we think he's going to start.
Yeah,
I think he'll start. Yeah,
I think he's going to start. So if anyone does drop out for Fellaini, who's it going to be?
I think Barkley will start. I think it'll be as I said. I think it'll be the exact same team that played against Betis. Possibly Heitinger.
Well, Gibbo's injured, isn't he?
Well, Heitinger.
Gibbo's injured, and he's on. They're saying he's 50-50, which probably means in Gibbo's terms he's 10-90 to play.
Yeah. So. Well, he seemed to like Naismith over pre-season. Can you see him coming in for a bit of experience rather than Barkley?
You need, but as you saw, you need somebody to do that little drop in and collect the ball from the back, don't you? That sort of anchor midfield role. And I think when Heitinger came on, I know Paul's not a big fan of Heitinger. I think he looked alright when he came on.
I think he looked alright, and I think Gibson's better at it when he's fit though.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah. So I think if Gibson's fit, I think him in that role.
Heitinger, no, it's just when things seem to be going wrong and stuff, he always seems to have some sort of role in it, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think what did it for a lot of fans was when he shit out of a few challenges, didn't he?
It was like West Ham away last year. I can't remember who it was, had the pop from outside the area, and it just so happened to be I think they're closing it down, and he just didn't even remotely get there.
Yeah.
Jagielka would have been going out, spreading his body, arms up, legs wide, anything to block that ball, and you think, he just wants to pounce around a little bit too much. And
so he wants to like, you know, he wants the fans fans to adore him and everything.
Yeah.
But then he's not willing to put it in there.
Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah.
So, score predictions for the weekend then, John?
I'm not going to predict the score. I'm just going to say it.
Oh, here we go, sitting on the fence again.
It's the same. You're driving down there on the coach, and you get on the coach and you go, oh, we're going to get battered here today. And then by the time you've had a few bevies, you think, well, do these here, you know. So I'm going to talk after a few bevies, and I'm going to say, I think we're going to beat them 3-1 at the weekend. I think we'll go 2-0 up.
I'd have that call.
Yeah.
3-1 is the score I've been thinking all week. I know what you're saying is because you just said it, but 3-1. I think we're going to see a couple of goals from Yella.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, at 3-1.
And I could see Barkley smash one in from outside the area.
Yeah, I'd
And
like
that's set them up for the season.
Let's hope we can fast forward a few days, be watching Man match of the day, or you, in your case, Paul, sitting there.
I'll probably be sat on the coach on my own, Mike Mary's sick all over me lap.
And I believe, Paul, that you're possibly going to be doing an away day match report for us for the podcast.
Yeah, there's going to be a match report next week. It's not going to be, well, it's actually going to be a match report through the goggles with about 400 cans of Stella. So it's going to be a little bit different to what David Prentice or someone like that would do.
But let's just talk a bit about, although the tickets you've got and the packages have sold out for the Norwich game. Let's talk about what you do with since 1878 for the home matches and the away deals that you do.
Well, it's just the away matches. We run the coach to every away game, John. We get the tickets for everyone on the coach, and basically it's just a good set of lads having a laugh on the coach, a few bevies. We pick a pub to go to where, you know, the Blues will outnumber the home fans.
Yeah, not in daft there as well. It's good, as you said yourself, and we've been.
There's no idiots. There's no one smoking on the coach. Oh God, I don't want it to sound too boring, but you know, we try to keep a bit of a head on it where it appeals to everyone going.
And you have a sing-song on the way down there, sing-song mostly on the way back as well.
No, we're all asleep on the way back, David, and what have you.
So, you know, Paul's on Twitter at since 1878 co UK.
Not .co.
No dot on it.
No dot allowed on Twitter.
No dot
allowed. No.
You need to get with Twitter.
That's a bit dotist, isn't it?
Yeah.
So if you want to get in touch with Paul, give him a follow on Twitter, or you can get in touch through us, and we'll put for future away days and home day hospitality deals with all inclusive drinks and ex-players.
Yeah, we've got Sheeds coming up, so that should be good. Hopefully we'll get him on here and give a little bit of an explains view for one of the next podcasts.
Yep, sounds good.
But after Saturday's scoreless draw, the tension was high. Norwich, though, diffused it by handing Everton the lead within a minute. It was Vanden Hau's first of the season. It'll go down as the one which won the title.
I'm absolutely delighted, really. I mean, it's been tremendously satisfying to win the championship again after narrowly missing out last season.
And even better for taking from Liverpool.
You don't mind who you take championships off. To say that, I mean, our fans were desperately disappointed. We missed out on the League Championship and the FA Cup last season to Liverpool, and we've reversed it this season.
The new champions were chaired home to Goodison.
Right, so it's time for, as we've done in the past few weeks, our Hall of Fame segment, and this time we were racking our brains trying to come up with a player, and obviously I've got a history of legendary players who we could choose from, but we've decided to do things a little bit differently this time round.
What have we decided, John?
Well, I'm going to pass over to you to tell us about that.
Well, we decided, with it being in a build-up to the game against Norwich at the weekend, we've decided to go for a game against Norwich from the past.
And put that into our Hall of Fame.
What do you think it might be, Paul?
I think it was Stoke away in 1984. Well, 86-87, Norwich away. The game that clinched the championship for the Blues.
Yeah, spot on that, Paul. That's exactly the game that we're talking about today. The 4th of May 1987. It was the tail end of the 86-87 season, which, as we all know, was the last time that the Blues won the league championship. Down at Carrow Road, in front of a crowd of 23,489, and the Blues ran out, eventual winners 1-0. The winning goal being scored by the most prolific of goal scorers, Mr. Pat Van Der Nauw, unbelievably. I'll just quickly run through the Everton side that day. Big Nevin goal, Gary Stevens, Van Der Nauw, Ratcliffe and Watson at the back. A midfield of Peter Reid, Tricky Trev, Inchy, Snods and Paul Power, and up front was Sharpie, Graham Sharp on the day. So I don't think he would have been in the bookies putting money on Van Der Nauw to get the winner, but that's how it played out on the day. Any memories or any thoughts about that game from you boys?
Well, I mean, we're all in our 30s, so although we will have watched it back then, we never got to go. And all I can say is, watching the footage on the internet, Van Der Nauw scored after about a minute and a half and we won the league. And it's a lot different to the trips that we have to Norwich nowadays. We went to Norwich last year, we spent the weekend there. We went to a B&B, which was full of fleas and beetles and anything else that could survive the minus 4 temperatures. Not their beetles, no. Actually, there were about 4 per bed. But yeah, it was a bit of a shithole down there in Great Yarmouth, full of Albanians. And we had a good weekend on the Ale. It snowed and hailed all weekend. And then we went to Carrow Road. We won 1-0. Except for the last 4 minutes where we actually got beat 2-1. And then we had a 6-hour journey home after getting beat 2-1 by Norwich. And you got to look back at 86, 87 and think, imagine what that journey home would have been like with the league title in our hands with 2 home games to come.
I know which one I'd rather, what coach I'd rather be on, and that 86, 87 one, I think would have been a delight to be on, really, wouldn't it? Sing songs all the way back.
Well, obviously, before we came into this segment, there was a clip there, we heard our Kendall talking about, winning the league and what it meant to them, because obviously Everton had lost the league championship the year before to Liverpool and so I mean, I think that one meant a lot to the Blues, didn't it, really?
Yeah, later on last season we went down to Chelsea and God knows how this panned out, but we ended up taking Pat Van Der Nauw with us for the weekend.
We did.
And he stayed over in the hotel with us, and anyone who's ever met Pat or heard him guest speaking, he's a man who consists of 1 and 2 word answers. So in our 5.5 hour, 6 hour journey down there, having to speak to Pat, we covered quite a wide range of subjects, and that goal popped up. Basically we said to Pat, what was it like scoring that goal? He said, I just fucking smashed it, and that was it. He just fucking smashed it, it went in and we won the league, and that's how Pat remembers it. He said he didn't even know what he was doing in that end of the pitch. But yeah, that's true. That's his recollection of that day. He said he can't remember much else of it. He had a good journey home from what he knows, and he was probably back in the county surrounded by birds until 3 in the morning.
And there's that iconic picture after he scores that goal with him being mobbed by the rest of the team and being dragged down to the floor and jumped all over.
Yeah, it looks like Snod's just trying to catch up and give him a good beefy or something, doesn't it?
But then obviously at the end of the game, the full-time whistle goes, and Carrow Road just seems to disappear under the sea of blue. There's Evertonians running from every stand. Every single stand.
All the players had to run off, didn't they, just to get away from our own fans. But it was like that at Goodison when Tony Abbott scored in his testimonial. Imagine if we won the league this year. And,
hang on a minute, so if this sets a bit of a precedent then, what's the odds on Tony Abbott popping up with a 1-0 winner on this Saturday?
I don't know, I think he lives in Somalia now, doesn't he? Seamus Coleman's our right back now. Tony Abbott's gone. I don't think Tony Abbott will play much at all this season. I think he's been put out to graze now, and I'd be very surprised. I don't think Seamus Coleman's the type of player to pick up many injuries, and I don't think we'll see Tony Abbott again now.
So no goal from Tony Abbott on Saturday?
No, I don't think no.
Why didn't you just say yeah, just to get our hopes up?
I don't like to tell lies.
So, anyway, so that's this week's entrance into the Not Bitter, Just Better Hall of Fame. it's not a player. Bizarrely, it's a match, and it's when we won the league title in the 86-87 season at Carrow Road versus Norwich, beating them 1-0.
Would you take a 1-0 out?
Yes.
Yes. Stupid question, isn't it?
Of course you would.
Would you take a victory on Saturday? No, I'd hang out for the draw.
No, no.
Come on, John.
It's always a 1-0 anyway at Norwich when Paul goes, because any goals they score don't count.
Yeah, I think most Evertonians would bite their hands off at a 1-0. Take that right away. But as Mark just said, inducted into our Hall of Fame alongside the likes of Tim Cahill, Dave Ixon. Who went in last week?
Was Alec Young last week? How did you forget Alec Young?
I don't know. Yeah. So welcome to our Hall of Fame. Everton versus Norwich, 86-87 season clincher. Okay, folks, we're going to wrap it up there. We've gone over an hour again, talking mostly Everton, bit of general Real Madrid, Ronaldo, a bit of nonsense in there as well, and
it's a whale podcast these days. Whale podcast.
Yeah, we're going global. You can find us on Facebook at Not Bitter Just Better. Just put that in the search bar. On Twitter at Just Better EFC. And if you listen on SoundCloud, Not Bitter Just Better in the iTunes store, you can subscribe there so it comes straight to the device as soon as it goes up. And yeah, as I say, we're just going to leave it there. Look forward to the weekend.
Yeah, come on you Blue Boys, looking forward to the weekend. Hopefully we'll be talking next week about a victory down at Carrow Road. Onward Evertonians.